Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Hello, happy Thursday. I'm your host, Nora, Pierre, and I'm here with my little sister because John got stuck in a pickle.
Yeah,
and of
I
course,
guess so. Yes.
We're also here with the birthday man, Mr. Frank. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah, thank you.
Right, but yeah, so John's stuck in a pickle. He got caught up in some traffic, but he did say that he's going to try to make it.
Yes.
So if he appears out of nowhere,
I'm here. My name is Nora, Pierre Lewis. I'm excited to be here with my sister.
In place of John for right now.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool being here and being able to talk and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess so. So we weren't here last week because we were up in Miami or down in Miami. I'm so directionally challenged. It's not even funny.
Yes.
The whole entire
South.
way there.
Yes.
Okay. Because my dad was driving us over on Thursday, and I kept saying, "Are you sure we're not going north?" Even though we were on the South Road going down. And then I don't know anything about geography, but that is foreshadowing for later on today. But so we were in Miami. I had to go with the meeting, like a special celebration for the ending of my other internship that's based in North Miami, but they canceled.
Aww.
So I just had to see family, and I was like, "Oh, well, we drove up
you made
there."
the most of it. Yes.
Right. But but now we're back, and now John's gone. How ironic is that?
Yeah.
So,
but he did a good job, filling in,
holding down the fort.
He did just fine. Him and I chatted up the sciences. I made him crazy.
Well,
that's why I loaded up your inbox with all the science stuff, because he kept saying, "Where did you find all this stuff?"
Yeah.
So he said, "I want your sources."
Yeah. I just send him bulks of just links.
Yeah.
And I don't even look at them. I'm like, "John, here's another load from Mr. Frank for you. Okay, here you go." So.
Well, when in your off time, you may want to.
Yeah, I took a peek at one of them. And actually, one of my segments is about one of the things that you sent me.
Cool.
So, but I'm not going to spoil it.
All right. No spoilers. Okay.
Yep. But over the weekend, while we were learning about family and whatnot, I learned something crazy about Haitian culture. And it was specifically Haitian voodoo. Oh. And I was shocked. I was so shocked. So there's this popular Haitian YouTuber who's a part of this feminine movement. Okay. I don't know. I intend to look into it soon and talk about it and whatnot, since she's really interesting. But she does these like breakdown videos, and she talks about, what makes this woman feminine, how to become more feminine. It's like this masculine, and it's very complicated. Right. But she does these breakdowns, and she was talking about Ariel, the little mermaid, the Disney
Little
princess.
Mermaid, yes.
So I go into this video, and I'm thinking, oh, yes, I get to see like an analysis of Ariel and all these theories and whatnot, and how it fits into the stories and the Brothers Grimm and the whole entire history. Right. But before she goes into that, she talks about how within this feminine movement, a lot of women like to be compared to or mimic the features of a siren. Right. Okay. All right. Because they're seen as like alluring, right? They lure the sailors and whatnot. Right. Mm-hmm. But she was like, okay, so you kind of don't want to go around in certain areas around certain people of certain cultures saying like, I'm a siren because I'm feminine and this and that, because to some people they're gonna think you're demonic or associate you with something bad, right? Right. Okay. Gotcha. So this woman, she grew up in La Laguna, Haiti. I don't know where that is. I think it's a separate island or something. Okay. But she
almost sounds like a seaside town, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right. But that's the important part, because she talks about how she was born and raised in Haiti and whatnot, and she said that there are people who go underwater for days. Okay, and it's like some type of initiation for like the Haitian voodoo people. Okay. How like priests and priestess would go underwater, and like months would go by, weeks, and these people, they'll be on like wherever they are looking for them, like, hey, they're not coming up for air, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then after all this time passes, they come back as if nothing happened, as if nothing. And so she kept repeating this term called la sirene, which is the siren or whatnot. But I was like, this is crazy. Like, I've heard my fair share.
There could be, you've heard of like springs, fresh water springs that come out of the ocean.
Really?
Sure. There is areas like that. Science.
Yeah, anyway, science. Right. Yeah, nice.
But there could be, air pockets underwater.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, I did not think of that.
Early divers, what early divers used to do? They used to take these buckets, turn them upside down, take the buckets with them. They would be weighted. And then, so they would go free dive and then put their head inside the barrel and breathe air. And then they could stay down for a while.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
That was, we're talking, way back. Yeah.
That's true. But I mean, thinking about Haiti and how like voodoo has a big part in Haitian culture. I'm like, yikes.
Yeah.
And like,
but there's probably a scientific explanation. You see, that's where I'm going.
But I have heard stories. Like, I mean, when I was in Haiti many years ago, my cousin ran up to me and you're not supposed to be out at night.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Because that's when what we call the witches or the lugaru, they come out and they're gonna eat you and like drink your blood and whatnot.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Vampires.
Yeah. My mom talks about how when she was younger she had to fight them off or whatever because they used to sleep on roofs because it was so hot.
They had dogs. In Haiti they have like dogs tied up to like cars or something. Like
I don't know.
Yeah, they have dogs and the dogs are supposed to scare away the spirits because like for some reason the spirits are just scared of the dogs. And so it's like,
I don't know, but I remember my cousin did say that he saw a man walking down the street turn into a dog. So so with that in mind, hearing this, I'm like, Yeah. So, later that day I was talking with my dad and I was like, hey, have you ever heard of La Sirene before? And he said that he knew or heard of these group of kids who, when they were like, when my dad was a kid and they were all kids, they used to go swimming in some lake, as children do, having fun.
Right.
And one kid got pulled under the water by something. Nobody knows what it was, but he got pulled underwater and everybody's like, where did he go? He's been underwater for a long time now. I don't know what happened. So in these group of kids, the one who disappeared had an older brother. So the older brother was like, no, I'm gonna go get him. So he goes underwater and they're gone. Okay.
They're both gone now.
Yes.
Wow.
And everybody's like looking around, they're waiting for them. And then so I'm like, no way, like where did you hear this story from? So my dad calls up my distant cousins who live in New York. It turns out those group of kids who witnessed everything were my family members.
Wow.
And they told me directly that these two kids were gone for 7 days.
Wow.
7 days underwater in Haiti. And they came back as if nothing happened. And everybody was so happy that they had like a party and everything. And I was asking them questions. I was like, how did they breathe underwater?
Right.
How did they survive?
Right.
What did they see?
What did you eat?
Yes, exactly that. And I was like, do you know of La Laguna, Haiti, or La Sirene? But they didn't know any of those things. They were like, I don't know what a sirene is. I don't know.
Wow.
They were just like, look, these kids got taken.
Right.
And that was it. Well, go ahead.
I was just thinking back when I was a kid, we would take baths. And if you stayed in the bathtub too long, your skin got all wrinkly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
You prune, right?
Right. You prune right up. So could you imagine 7 days of that?
You're right.
Whoa.
I didn't even think about that like that.
Well, I remember I asked my dad if he saw anything. And my dad said that there's a whole nother world down there. So
yeah, that's what they were saying. It's like a completely different, society almost. I don't know. It's so, but it's like those cultural stories. Yeah. So I want to ask
like
John.
Stuff out of the X-Files.
A little bit. Or man, what's it? Oh, never mind. There was some other show I was gonna say, but never mind. I forgot.
Funny.
Yeah, I was gonna ask John if he had any, or is he here?
Yes.
John's walking in.
Wow, look at that.
Yes, have a seat, mon ami.
Hi.
Anyways, John, you missed my crazy story about wacky mermaids. Oh, you did? Yeah. Nice. Okay. But yeah,
That's
John,
the beauty of radio, right?
Right?
You can stay connected even when
So John,
he's
do
not
you have
here.
any crazy cultural stories from like your parents, your family members, witnessing children get kidnapped underwater and then
I do not have anything as crazy as family members being kidnapped.
Oh man. Okay. What about you, Mr. Frank?
nothing that bizarre.
Gotta love Haiti,
No,
right?
yeah.
Gotta love Haiti. All right.
Yeah.
I know you have a moment
This
into
this
this
moment
day in
this day in
history,
history,
something like
sure.
that?
Yeah. So the title of this day in history is called Damn the Torpedoes, Full Speed Ahead. On August 5th, 1864, saw the last major naval battle of the Civil War when Admiral David Glasgow Farragut led a fleet of Union ships against Mobile Bay, Alabama, one of the most heavily defended ports in the South. The entrance of the bay was protected by Fort Morgan and Fort Gaines, four Confederate ships, including the giant ironclad Tennessee and dozens of mines, in which those days were called torpedoes. And the Confederates had arranged the mines, which lurked just beneath the water's surface, to create a narrow channel running into the bay. But anyway, so it really paints a vivid picture what it was like, right? And anyways, as the rest of the fleet faltered and began to drift toward the Fort Morgan, the Confederate gunners raked the Union vessels with deadly fire. Farragut knew that if he would hesitate would mean disaster, so he shouted his famous order, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead."
That sounds like something I heard from a movie.
That's where it comes from.
Wow.
That's where it comes from. And it happened on this day on August 5th.
Nice.
Also on this date in 1774, George Washington was elected a delegate to the Continental Congress. In 1861, the federal government leaves its first income tax to help pay for the Civil War. Levies, rather, is the word. And Admiral David G. We did that. In 1864, the cornerstone for the Statue of Liberty was laid on this date in 1884. 1914, on this date, the very first electric lights were installed in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
Wow.
Cleveland,
yeah.
Ohio.
Right. They lit up the world. And in 1957, on this date, American Bandstand, hosted by Dick Clark, debuted on national TV.
Man.
American Bandstand. That was huge.
Man.
Huge.
I didn't even, that Ohio one, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Cleveland.
I love history.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Anyways, John, do you have anything for us today?
I have one that was fairly interesting. It's not tech-based, unlike Mr. Frank. We can go into that a bit later. You sent some really interesting stuff. Anyways, it was about the moratorium, I believe it's pronounced. It was extended, and it's nationwide, I believe, actually.
Moratorium. Mm-hmm.
Moratorium.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This basically covers renters and stuff, basically making it so that they can't be kicked out just because they can't pay the bills. Personally, before we get all into fine nitty-gritty details of it, how do you guys view COVID and all of that towards renters and stuff? Because on one hand, you have the landlord and you have renters. The landlord probably not being paid by their renters. Meanwhile, their renters are clinging to basically their only source of a home. And without that, they would be on the streets.
Well, I think it first depends on what areas are going to be impacted. Is this going
It's going to be more heavy impacted areas of COVID, like higher percentage rates of infected.
So that's pretty broad, though, because I'm thinking like if it's low socioeconomical situations, then maybe that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is where we need a lawyer here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because the moratorium, as it was crafted originally, is not constitutional.
Really?
Yeah, this is why a lawyer would be very good to have on this conversation.
I was just thinking it'll throw off the balance of things.
Well, so you have a covenants between two parties. You have an agreement between two parties.
Mhm.
And the remedy for the landlord, if the tenant decides not to pay the bill for whatever reason, can't pay the rent, the only remedy the landlord has is eviction,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
Because they have expenses, right? Most landlords are mom and pop people.
Mhm.
I was a landlord for 20 years.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay. And I know this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's not like they got money that, oh yeah, we're just sitting in our, mansion and we can afford to do this.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
so it's, these are working people too. Only the service, the product that they offer is a place for people to live. The cost has to be paid. So maybe the government went about it the wrong way, because what was happening is that the tenants are getting paid. They're getting their PPP. They're getting some sort of workman's comp, or they're getting payment of some sort from the federal assistance. Okay. In the meantime, that money is not finding its way to the landlord. Not a cool experience for the landlord.
Yeah.
So maybe they should give assistance to the landlord, the property owner, as opposed to a party that's, but by extending the moratorium, all they're doing is increasing the debt that this tenant is not able to pay.
So maybe like having the government pay off kind of.
Yeah, or come to some sort of, settlement that they can give some sort of assistance, but it's not fair to force landlords to accept people on their property that can't pay the rent or are unwilling to pay the rent. More likely, not that they can't, maybe they're just unwilling to.
Yeah.
Right.
Because from what you read, at least there doesn't seem to be any guidelines so far, like from what you read. So that's what I was asking, like, what area does this pertain to?
It's
Is it socioeconomical? And if anything, rather than giving out money like that, I feel like we should also be finding ways to create more jobs, so like people can also be efficient and be able to be independent on their own. I think having self-sufficiency, being independent, and
self-worth.
whatnot. Self-worth. Yes.
Mhm.
So working for what you have, showing your landlords or your the people who are allowing you to stay on their property that you deserve to be there, that you work hard, and this is not something that you're going to take for granted, of course. So yeah.
This is an interesting conversation.
No, of course.
A little bit more about that. There's not really anything more to add on to that. Only other states, such I believe like Maine and Vermont, aren't covered by it because they have low infection rates. Otherwise than that, I guess probably about Mr. Biden announcing the target of 50% zero carbon emission in cars by 2030. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he rolled back the Trump, because Trump had relaxed the emissions requirements and like that, and they were very strict under the previous administration.
Okay.
And so when Trump came into office, he had relaxed those, in order to stimulate the economy, because when you put restrictions on industry, things cost more, and it's more difficult for industry to respond. Instead of giving them more of a reasonable timetable. So that was Trump's way of working with industry. And so by putting these mandates, and now it forces the industries in the automotive industry, it forces companies that can either meet those mandates to succeed. Great. The ones that can't make those requirements, they either get absorbed or they fail.
Yeah.
So it's like government picking winners and losers. Not a good plan.
Does this also affect gas?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
because interesting. Because I was like, if it, there's actually, I think maybe last week there was a racetrack that we drove by that was completely shut down.
Yeah, all the
no
gas
gas whatsoever. That's never really happened before, unless there's like a hurricane or like COVID lockdown, something like that. There's no emergency right now, but just to see, like, my parents pulled in trying to get gas, and everything was shut down. I was like, this is kind of weird. So interesting.
And it could be
Interesting.
just from their wholesale suppliers and that sort of thing. But, what we are experiencing right now would be pretty much an anomaly,
Yeah.
not really related to what the president is mandating, because that
okay.
his mandates are more to manufacturing for emissions
Mhm.
and requirements that automotive manufacturers need to make. So they skirt the the problem is, so you have these, and I love battery electric cars because that's a whole nother conversation. It's a wonderful science, right? But so that works fine, except for you need a lot of carbon. You need to burn a lot of energy in order to create the batteries, in order to do the energy.
Yeah.
So that is not that's not looked at as part of these guidelines. And then it's unfortunate because it's pseudoscience.
Nice.
See?
Okay, pseudoscience.
Right.
Yeah. So go ahead.
After that, I would probably want to talk. You guys probably already heard about it. It was about the Olympian from Braless.
Is this
Mr. Frank?
Is this the
Do you-
Olympics?
From where?
Braless. It's Belarus. I've heard it pronounced before, but I cannot pronounce it.
No.
Wait, is this a part of the? I did not watch the Olympics.
No, this
I
was
did.
this was a pop-up story. I
Oh,
also going to butcher her name. I'm sorry in advance. It was Timon Sovakaya. Mr. Frank.
is she?
Close enough.
Is she,
Okay,
is she
close
the,
enough.
Is she the Filipino who won a medal for the country?
No, this
No.
sounds like this is East European, right?
Oh,
Yes. This
Oh,
one
ooh.
was the one who it was directly at the Olympics. Basically, what happened was her country there wasn't enough people to compete in the 4-person race. It was 40 miles, I believe. No, not 40 miles. It was. Give me a sec. Yeah, it was a 4x40m relay race, and they didn't really have enough team players, and one dropped out, I believe, for maybe physical or illness, and they basically set her in to race against. Well, she wasn't told
Is this
about it.
Belarus? Is that the
Yes, there. Okay, there
is
we
that the
go.
country?
Oh.
In the back of my mind, I'm trying to.
So that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I
Your
heard.
geography is amazing.
Yeah, I heard her pronounce it a
Wow.
different way. Okay.
Wow, based on a name.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. I can't go anywhere without Google Maps. That's okay, I'm sorry. You just shocked me. That's amazing. Anyways, continue, John, before we
So-
go to break.
Okay, so what happened was she was kind of a little bit complaining. It's like, I wasn't told about this. This isn't right. So what happened was her country basically went into a full-on thing about her being, well, it's not enough like spirit. You don't have enough team spirit. And then it turned into, oh, she's not mentally well. And then what happened was, and a little bit after that, 2 people, I believe it was one person was from the Olympic team, just for like kind of a guide. One was her coach, and they were basically like, pack your bags, we need to leave, we're going to the airport, you're going back. Her grandmother called from Burlas and was basically like, don't come back, they're saying you have like some mental issue or something and they're going to jail you. So what happened was she was like, no, I'm staying right here. And then
She went to the embassy.
Mhm, she went to the Polish embassy and requested, I forgot what the word
Asylum.
was. Asylum, there it is.
Mhm.
And she just flew in to Poland this day. So yeah, it's an interesting story.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah,
That's
she'll
crazy.
Be,
Yeah,
she'll
that's
be
a lot.
Polish now. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? I know. I just thought it was an interesting story.
Harsh. That's harsh because I mean, if they told her to do this thing out of nowhere,
I mean, during the Olympics
during-
too.
Yeah.
that's a lot of
And
pressure.
she didn't get to
number one.
compete either. So
Yeah, and what if she didn't train for it, and then if she were to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how a woman. She's a woman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. Fine. Trying to make sure. I'm just trying to like. If you standing up for something like that, I don't understand why that labels you as insane or a traitor or whatever they were saying. That's not right.
No.
That's tough.
When you're competing for the Olympics, that's like hard work, and you know.
You know what? What? Go ahead.
Yeah.
It is hard work. Yeah,
Well,
it's complicated.
It's
of
stressful.
course,
It's
and
stressful
it's a lot
both
of stress.
physically
Yeah.
and mentally.
Yeah, you're
Sure.
wearing your country's reputation on your
Right.
back.
mm,
You know, so
all the eyes of the world are on you.
Exactly. Not mine though. I didn't see it. That's tough. All right. We're going to break. Stay tuned.
All right. We'll be right back. Stand by, Bob.
Hello, welcome back. And before we get right into the swing of things, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Hey, no.
Mr. Bob, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing, baby?
Not much. School's next week. It's kind of stressful to think about. My
Living
sister's
the dream
here
right now.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
sister's going to be a freshman with me.
Just get your Batman mask and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, thank you. How is your family? I've been praying for you guys.
They're still doing well.
That's good to hear.
As well as can be expected. And thank you.
Oh, it's good to hear. It's good to hear. So I have a question for you. So
okay, I've got a couple for you too.
Would you like to ask your questions first, actually?
Yeah, your people can spend 7 days underwater, but you can't find Miami on I-95.
I know!
How the hell did you get to frickin' Florida from Haiti?
I don't know. I know it's really sad. I am so.
I know you have great parents. I could tell.
Oh, thank you. But I am so directionally challenged.
South on I-95 of the turnpike. Eventually, if you head to the left, you're going to run into Miami.
I mean, even when I drive to Jupiter to go and study in the Jupiter Library, because they're open a lot later, when I'm driving back, I don't know if I should take the north ramp to Daytona Beach or the south ramp to West Palm, and I always get stuck in the middle because I'm like, I don't know where I gotta go.
And you're going to defend my butt?
See. Yes.
I'm sorry.
This is why Elon Musk is inventing cars that will drive themselves.
Yeah, those Teslas.
Yeah, the Haitians that can't die for 7 days.
Right.
7 days. Oh man, I know that story. I think you're right. I don't even know what to say.
My kids are half Cuban.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they can find their way to Miami, but that's easy for them.
That's true. It's true. Miami, yeah.
They're all Cubans in Miami.
Do you have any like crazy Cuban magic cultural stories of some crazy?
I'm German Hungarian.
Hungarian. That's nice.
Actually, I try to say I'm not related to Hitler, even though my last name is close to his. No, I have no amazing stories about Germans or Hungarians.
Oh, okay, that's
No,
fine.
but I always had great parents like you did.
Aw, that's good to hear. You know what? Great parents make great generation, which goes on to make another great generation. Hallelujah.
Let us pray.
Yep. Anyways, so here's my question for
Okay.
you.
All right.
Mr. Frank sent me this thing in my email, and I looked at it, and he said, take this and see how you did. Right? And this test is a test from 1895, and it originated in Salina, I think it's Salina, Kansas.
Mhm.
And this
So,
test
Just
takes
to be
5
clear,
hours.
I did not take this test.
I didn't.
I wasn't there in 1895. Just
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this test took 5 hours to take, and I wanted to do some live trivia. So, would you like to be a part of it for this small amount of time?
I'll try. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing anything.
All right, no, it's no problem. I don't know. I'm telling you right now, I don't know any of these questions.
You can't even find Miami. I mean, how can I do work?
I'm saying, the only thing I'm good at is sweet talking on this radio. That's it. So I have 5 questions. I have 5 questions since there was 5 sections.
You're laughing her ass off right now. You're hearing your sister.
Oh yeah, she hears this all the time from me, all the time. So hopefully she'll be able to take over in my shoes. But
Right.
here's the first question.
And tell me what you say. What you got? I'll tell you the best I can do.
All right, so give 9 rules for the use of capital letters, and this was under the grammar section. 9 rules for the use of capital letters, and we'll go around in the office or the studio as well.
9 rules for the use of capital letters.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of them is names,
Right.
places,
hmm
businesses or organizations.
Punctuation like I'd, I guess.
Yeah, punctuation like I, personal
If you
pronouns.
name them, I'll tell you probably what they mean. I gotta come up with my own 9, not my own 9 letters.
No, 9 rules for the use of capital letters.
Okay.
So we named like 4.
Right.
We had names, personal pronouns, places, and like organizations and whatnot.
hmm
Contractions
Contractions.
like I'd, will, no, just I'd.
Yeah. Wait. I don't know. This is hard. Do you have any,
This
Mr.
would
Bob?
Make me look at, I owned 3 businesses while I was in high school. None of them had to do with learning.
That's what I'm saying. I have to agree. But let's just move on to the next one.
Let's move on, yeah.
Grass and the other grass.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one. So this next one falls under the section of arithmetic. So it says write a bank check, a promissory note, and a receipt. So I just learned how to write a bank check literally 2 weeks ago because I had to go pick up my parking spot for school.
On the way to Miami, yeah.
On the way to my You're gonna let me die with that one, huh?
Right, I'm telling you.
Hey, come on, you go south.
I know. My dad was like, I don't understand. What are they teaching you in school? You just go south.
Hey, you're learning a lot. You're learning the stuff you want to learn.
Yeah. Like spirituality, asking a whole bunch of questions.
You don't have somebody that's on death penalty in Miami.
Yeah. All right. How about this one? This one falls under U.S. history. Okay. Who were the following based on their last name? I think. I don't know what these are. Morse, Whitney, Fulton, Bell, Lincoln, Penn, and Howe. Who are these people?
Morse code, maybe.
Right.
Lincoln. We're not talking about Abraham Lincoln, are we?
Could be.
I thought so.
Could be.
I thought so.
Yeah. And then
what were the other
Fulton.
ones?
Yeah, Fulton. Yep.
Fulton's Folly. That was
I remember Fulton. I remember
right. That
Fulton.
was that was the steamboat. Remember Fulton's Folly?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. What about Penn and Howe?
Penn and Teller?
No, Penn. So that was Sir.
No, she said
that was-
Penn and Teller. They have that
No.
new game show on there.
Stop it.
Oh man. All right.
Sorry, yeah.
Here. All right. I'll give
It
you
was
the
fun,
last one. We'll cut
yeah.
the fourth one.
Okay.
Here's the last one. This one's the geography,
Okay.
which we all know. I can't even get
Right.
south
Okay.
to Miami.
All
Okay.
right. All
Right.
No, so geography. I dive in Cuba for 7 days. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so the question is, why is the Atlantic coast colder than the Pacific, even though they're in the same latitude?
I don't think they are. We
They're
have the
not.
Gulf Stream
The
right off
Pacific
our
is
coast.
closer. Probably, I would say the Pacific would be colder than the Atlantic on the same
Oh, the
latitude.
Pacific,
Really?
yeah.
That's what the question says.
Yeah, we have the Gulf Stream right off the Gulf Coast here.
Right.
You know,
Right.
where the Haitians stay. on
We're the
west of them.
Haitians.
Right.
Man, maybe that's where they'd be going to, the Pacific Ocean, man.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, maybe that was a trick question.
It is a trick
if
question.
anything.
Mm,
And you guys knew that.
yeah.
Good for you. Duran,
Yeah.
did you know that?
Frank knew it. I think I screwed up on that.
I put
one.
my toes in both bodies of water. Probably Bob has too.
Uh-huh.
And the Pacific is cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the Pacific is very. My ex-wife was Cuban. We met in California. I thought she was Mexican. I thought she would listen, but she was Cuban because you don't run a lot of Cubans over there. So yeah, she didn't go in the ocean ever. I mean, I'd be swimming out there and she's on the beach, and we go up to the lake in Arrowhead or Big Bear or somewhere up in California. She never wanted to go in that water. That water was way too cold.
Wow. Over in California,
Yeah.
where everything's burning hot, they got fires out of nowhere.
The water is
Well,
cold.
yeah,
You ever
it's
been to
running
San
in the fire,
Francisco? You ever
too.
see pictures
No.
of San Francisco, the San Francisco
No,
fog?
No, but
Because
literally,
the warm air.
She didn't like cold water, and the Pacific was cold. And we go up to the lakes and the mountains like Big Bear or Lake Arrowhead or Green Valley Lake, and I couldn't get her in the water.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, but the fog though?
It's always misty over in San Francisco because you got the temperature inversion from the warm air on the land and the cool air from the ocean, and it's always kind of creates
And
kind of
the mountains in California, those are frozen in the winter. I mean, we used to love to go up to the mountains in California, but they're frozen.
Whoops.
So, and they're so high up, so they don't get warm at all. She would never go in the lake up in Big Bear or Lake Arrowhead or anywhere like that. No, there's no way in hell.
Oh man. Hopefully I can experience that one day. But the music is rolling. We got to go to break. Mr. Bob, thank you so much for doing this little trivia with us. And I will figure out how to get to Miami.
Go to Miami. There's, you know what? You get on I-95 or the Turnpike and you go south and you hang a left.
I will. Thank you so much. I will learn.
Miami.
I will learn, and I will defend you. I will bring you honor, Mr. Bob, okay?
I appreciate you, baby.
All right, I appreciate you too. Stay safe, stay cool, and I'm always sending blessings your way, okay?
Yeah, thank you, dear. I appreciate all what you said.
Of course. All right, stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Now.
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
And we're back. So I'd like to give a little closing statement on this whole entire trivia that we did. And this was based off a video, the video that Mr. Frank sent me into my email. And the man who created the video, his name was Mr. B, and he said something towards the end of this YouTube video that really stuck with me and inspired me to make these concluding thoughts. And that was, he said that the only reason why students are able to pass tests like these is because they study right before they take them and then forget all about it afterwards. So one thing I'd like to say before moving on to our next segment is that regardless how you feel about our education system, I think one thing has stayed the same and hasn't really been improved is that when it comes to teaching students to learn, that's not really done anymore. We teach students to memorize, and I'm guilty of that especially. And something that I believe that schools strongly but unintentionally condition students to do is teach them to work for a reward that is not bad, but given the environment, it's not realistic in a sense.
It's called teaching to the test.
Really? I didn't even know there was a term for it.
There is.
Wow.
And it's essentially what you're doing, right? Because they know what they're going to test you on.
Yeah.
So they give you
a course.
They give you the information so that if you digest that information, you should test well.
But you know, and I've been thinking about like college and you know what the future and my goals outside of school. And honestly, I'm just gonna give an example. Like let's say South Fork, right? Nora's gonna go to South Fork, John goes to South Fork, I go to South Fork, right? And during lockdowns, quarantines, you know, our IB teachers, Nora's future IB teachers, they're great with pushing us forward, you know, making us strive and getting our work. They're like, hey, you know, get your work in, I'll make this exception for you and whatnot. And they push us towards the goal of trying to be our best, whether some students take it or not.
Right.
And the students who did excel this year, you know, I mean, I did pretty fine this past year. That's why I got to where I am now. Hallelujah. But I look at it in the grand scheme of things. And when it comes to college, when I'm on my own, and I've heard this all my life, that college professors, they don't care. Okay, they're not going to baby you. And I even heard that high school teachers aren't going to baby you. Right. But even then, they kind of do. So when it comes to the real world, there is nobody. You're not going to have parents. You're not going to have mentors. You're not going to, even your friends. Like your friends are involved in their own life things and whatnot. Nobody's going to be there to push you towards a reward. In high school, you have your teachers, your fellow students who are working hard just like you to push you towards graduation, towards college, towards the next step, which is the reward. But at the end of the day, real life doesn't really have that all the time. There are going to be moments when you have to have it within yourself to push towards this goal. And that goal might not even have something that's tangible. But we'll come back to that since we have a caller. Hello.
Yes. Go ahead. Oh, we lost our caller.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Call back.
Go back. So, you know, when we have goals that are deeply rooted in our life purpose, you know, like, for example, me wanting to be a lawyer, you know, there's going to be moments in my journey where I'm not going to have a teacher to say, hey, turn in your work, or, hey, maybe you should go after this, or what, you know, not to tell me every day I have to wake up and do this and do that and keep working, keep pushing, because the reward, sometimes we can't always see it. You know, we can see a grade.
You have to be self-motivated.
Exactly.
Right.
We can see a diploma. We can see us walking across the stage for graduation. But it's not all the time we can see, you know, self-fulfillment, satisfaction, you know, understanding what life is. We can't always see or hold on to happiness, you know, the things that really matter. And school kind of takes that ability to know that and cultivate that self-motivation. So
critical thinking,
yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not wrong, you know, but it's just a negative consequence almost. So this is what I wanted to share.
All right.
Yeah. And John, do you have anything?
I know because you like to kind of give it the anthropological spin.
Yes.
Yes.
I know. Anthropology is great. You know, we were reading an ethnography on drugs. Have not read it at all, but maybe I'll do a segment on it soon.
Okay.
When I get to reading it. Okay. But yeah, John, anything for us before we finish out?
Not really. It's interesting what you're kind of going at, though.
Yeah, I
Okay.
really liked
I
what
don't-
you said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pause for thought.
Right, pause
John
for
is in
thought.
deep thought.
But we're moving
in
on.
deep
I'm gonna
thought.
try and fit
Ah.
this one really quick.
Okay.
Wait, did I cut you
Oh
off?
no.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, so this one, oh man, we're not gonna have that much time for it, but I'm gonna try.
We're
So this
about-
was about sexual assault and abuse on social media. I'm gonna go quick and a little trigger warning if you guys are shady on this. So one thing that I keep seeing popping up is when people who are like in relationships especially keep going on social media talking about how, oh, my man scratched me and hurt me and did this to me and did that to me, and they get law enforcement involved and they record everything. It's just messy. It's very messy. And I can't help be like, if you did the necessary steps, because I see this a lot in these social media things where they'll be like, the police didn't do this for me, or the police didn't do that for me, or I never got justice for this, which is like, yikes, like, I'm sorry, like it's tough. But if you are in a position, and the specific thing that I'm talking about, it was, if you're in a position where, you're most likely going to get justice and you're just posting it on social media, like the guy who hurt you or assaulted you or whatever is in jail, is facing prison time and whatnot. I'm talking specifically about a rapper and some girl who got clawed by this rapper and was hurt, and she's crying on social media and whatnot. And I mean, if this guy's in jail and the police are taking care of everything now, why are you posting it on social media?
Right.
Why are you broadcasting everything?
Poor me. Feel sorry for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember when I was talking
that
about
whole victim mentality.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I remember when I was talking about how a stalking thing that happened like 10 years, and that was over the course of 10 years. And one of the callers came in and said that this was a situation of a good publicity and bad publicity, and it's just publicity overall. And I just have to say, social media is not where you go to get justice. Okay. And I'm telling you, if you look up toxic relationship TikTok compilations,
Yeah.
there will be hundreds of them. Just like 20-minute long videos filled with like 30-second, 15-second, a minute long TikToks of people telling how they've been abused, hurt, mistreated, this, that. But here's the thing, going onto social media, you're not going to find justice because you're going to be popular for a week, and then people are going to move on to the next thing.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
While you're still there, traumatized, you're
15
hurt.
minutes of fame.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not the one to say that these stories aren't real. They're not that, and that's not the point. Is regardless, if you are traumatized, if you are genuinely hurt, and you thought that posting on TikTok or whatever was the way to get justice, no, it's not. And I don't understand why people think that. And it's so disheartening to see, because if anything, it makes you look like a joke rather than get justice.
Right.
And so here's my final message, because we're running out of time here. Social media does not help you in a case where you are being sexually assaulted, were raped, hurt, or anything, unless you are involved with a nonprofit organization that has the intention of spreading like a message and getting something done, or creating a movement such as like the Me Too movement, something like that, or you're teaching people, you're educating people how to, hey, these are female safety tips, how to protect yourself as a woman or a man, or, how to not get into these sketchy situations when you're out by yourself, or any alternative that's going to help people. And if you add in your story in that type of manner, exactly, that is when you can use social media to bring awareness, not when you're crying, not when you're showing your evidence or anything. Okay, if anything, if you have been hurt, okay, go speak to a lawyer, go to the hospital, get a rape kit done or something, go to the police, find an organization that specializes in these types of cases, because it's sad to see all these uneducated teenagers or young adults out here, posting and making themselves look like crazy and like they're doing it for attention. And at the end of the day, when they're blasting their hurt and their problems to social media, it just brings more wandering eyes, and then they will eventually forget about you. And when you move on, and when they move on, I think that makes everything worse, especially since you never got the justice that you apparently deserved from what you were saying. So be smart, right? Let's all be smart.
Yeah.
All right. Be smart. Okay?
All right.
See you
That
next
means-
Thursday,
Okay,
right?
all right.
Be smart, please, and stay safe out there, all right? See you guys later.
And avoid
Bye-bye.
gas leaks.
Yes. Yes. John will tell you that straight up. All right. Bye, y'all.